friends. Thank you for tuning in to the Odd Thoughts podcast. My name is Gunther, and I'm your host, and welcome to episode 13. If you're someone who likes to think about the everyday odd thoughts or talk about general mental health issues, then this could be the podcast for you, and I appreciate you tuning in to listen. So for episode 13 for today's episode, I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit about kind of what I maybe had in mind for the future of what I want to post on YouTube. I kind of wanted to step outside the podcasting realm, and I've been trying to brainstorm of what I think I want to do. So talk a little bit about that, and then while I'm talking about YouTube, I'm talk about my love for YouTube a little bit too. I've watched YouTube for a very, very long time, and I still watch YouTube pretty religiously. It's kind of taken the place for streaming services, basically. But then I kind of want to transition into talking a little bit about just more about like real life, just about like general life, and talk about kind of going with the flow of things and talking about being more relaxed in situations and stuff like that. And then I want to end it with talking about my siblings or just talking about siblings in general and just the beautifulness of siblings and how they're kind of that blend between family and friend kind of they're family but then they're kind of your best friend, built-in best friend to your family. So if you want to listen to any of that, then stick around. But before we get into the to any of that, I just wanted to ask, is everybody doing okay? I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm doing okay. I've 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 kind of got a little bit of work done today. I've tried to get work done every day, but like more so towards my podcast. I've always tried to stick around, stick into like a really free form, kind of just trying to go episode to episode and kind of just go off of what I feel at that moment. I think it kind of puts a little bit of it just makes me feel then I'm not prepared, and then then it's hard for me to start a podcast or start recording one. So I kind of got some planned out for the future, at least ideas for the future, and so it makes me a little more prepared, and so I feel good about it. It's something that makes me feel good. I think accomplishment is not something I base all of my positive feelings or what I feel good based just off of my accomplishments, but when I can do something that is positive like that, and especially something that is working towards like something that I have a lot of interest in, and especially with like the podcast, like so, I got my future episodes planned out, and like I said, I hope everybody else is doing okay. I just want to let y'all know that I love y'all. I appreciate any of the little bit of attention I've gotten towards the podcast and anything like that, and I'm just gonna keep going, and I know that as I keep going and if I and as I reach out and I kind of branch myself out and do other things outside of podcasting, I just know that I'm going to gain a lot more confidence and I just appreciate the idea that maybe at least one person listens to the podcast and maybe that one person really enjoys it and they talk about it with other people and or just more so maybe take what they heard from the podcast and talk about it with other people. Like I said, I just want this podcast to be really. I just want to try to do my best to open up the idea of conversation. I just want. It's more about trying to ask questions. Just kind of like what I always kind of feel. I don't know. What questions? I guess it's always that's what questions are you supposed to ask, but it's like just the idea that you're kind of working through and thinking about things and sometimes it's overwhelming, but that's what I'm just trying to open up thought. That's what I'm just trying to do behind the podcast. So I appreciate anybody that's listened. That's for sure. But yeah, so for episode 13, I'm also planning on maybe trying to do a video aspect. Try one of the podcasts where I actually record myself, and I might try to do that. I don't know. I don't know when. I was hoping maybe around. I might try it for like the 15th episode, so in a couple episodes, but that's more of based off of how I feel, my confidence more so. I don't know if I want people to look at me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I'm thinking about that for the future. But yeah, but I'm continuing to kind of brainstorm with YouTube and more so. I'm trying to maybe just trying to hone in on that. And I also have my podcast on Spotify, so that I'm trying to branch out with the podcast in that way. And I'm also trying to do like other things, kind of, I sometimes when I do like the more when I do my mental health episodes, when I get kind of more specific on a certain mental health issue, I like to write outlines for them. And then I usually post the outlines on Medium, medium.com, or Medium if you have the app Medium. But I really enjoy like kind of doing that, and it kind of makes me feel, it kind of gives me like kind of, it's like a journalistic feeling a little bit, but it's, I just know some people are more readers than there are listeners, and so that's kind of, I'm trying to branch out and do that as well. And also trying to create a website too, trying to put a hub for all this stuff, and that kind of overcomplicates me a little bit, and I don't want to pay for a service to do it, and so I'm working towards that. But on YouTube, besides the podcasting, I really want to try to get into, one of the things I've always loved on YouTube. One of my favorite things types of videos to watch, or some really more so listen to, because there's not always stuff to watch necessarily, but I love listening to like story narrations, or like, storytelling videos or whatever. And usually, like, I like horror videos and horror, like, stories. So I've always had a really big interest in that. And it probably was around like the time, like the beginning of high school, when I started kind of like discovering that kind of stuff on YouTube. And after I graduated high school is when I think it really started becoming popular. I feel like that's when like a lot more people were coming on to like YouTube and doing those kind of videos. And some of them had like animations too, which that was kind of cool to see. I kind of liked that. It was creepy. So I'm kind of thinking about trying to do that on YouTube, and I don't know how deep I'm gonna go, and like that with it. I don't know if I could do the animation stuff, but doing like just storytelling stuff, and I kind of want to throw in like characters too, and try to like expand my like abilities in that way. And I love doing voices, and I'm always been goofy kind of in that way. I'm so silly, whatever. But I just like, I'm so random in that way, and I like to, I mimic. That's like more so like with something I do, and I catch myself doing it quite a bit. But I like doing characters, and I like doing voices, and so I was thinking that maybe that would be something that would be kind of an interesting thing to try. And I need to try it at least, right? So that's kind of the idea, is that I need to try to see if it even works. So yeah, I'm working. I'm working towards that. It's, if anybody even wants to hear that kind of stuff, but find an audience for that for sure. And then yeah, I don't know. I want to try to put myself on camera more so, but I'm really trying to avoid, like I'm trying to avoid certain types of content. I want to try to be creative, to however an extent I can allow myself. I'm not necessarily, you know, I like story. Like I said, I like storytelling, so that's why it would make sense. I like writing, that's why that kind of would make sense, and I like talking about things, so that's why podcasting kind of makes sense. So I'm trying to find out, ways of producing a type of content that goes along with, again, creativity, and creating that to a passion for it, and making sure that I love to do it, and not just force any style of videos because I want to be famous on YouTube, or I don't want to. It's not just about that. Like, I'd rather my outreach beyond YouTube or something like that, or YouTube be the place where people can come to, but I'm not necessarily known as like a YouTuber. It's just like I have my podcast on YouTube and Spotify, so that's where you would listen to that stuff, or my story narration videos on YouTube. So it's more about just being creative and trying to like be just confident in myself and use myself for that kind of creativity, and expand beyond YouTube, but I'm still trying to figure that out. But it's fun figuring it out. I definitely have a lot of fun thinking about the different types of content, and because I watch YouTube so much that it kind of is, I try to like pick up on things. I really do. I don't want to be exact copycat because there's certain videos also, like I said, I try to avoid certain content. Also, there's certain content that I don't think I'm ever going to really like be super passionate about. But I know that I can take advantage of maybe even like short film, like shorter videos, you know what I'm saying? Shorter length videos, So like, Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels and stuff like that, take advantage of that. TikTok and stuff like that. Not do dances on TikTok, but like make like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure that out. That's the tough part. But it's I would like to even get beyond, like I said, beyond YouTube. Um I'm trying to write for like longer form stories, really. I want to when I do storytelling videos, I want to try to keep them pretty short because I just think like it just will sound better and I could throw a couple more stories in one video and stuff like that. But when it comes to like writing, I find myself I try to like over explain when I write and stuff like that, and there's certain things you don't really need to tell in a story. Like it doesn't really matter, especially like when you got kind of the end goal of where you want it to end. You don't really need to explain like every little bit of like everything. Like you don't need to know where the killer lives in a video or in a story or whatever. So try to like it's hard to like not be so involved in the story, but then that lays an outline for maybe a longer form of writing, like a book. And so I'm working on that, and I have a Reddit as well. I go by Oh, actually, I don't know what I can't remember. I think it's odd underscore squared. Squared as in it's squared to the power of two. Like what I'm saying. Like, that's what my one of my nicknames has been for like a long time in my life is G squared or squared because my first and last name start with a G. How creative, but I mean I do love it. I mean it's not like I'm not shitting on it. Sorry for my language. I love my nickname. I really do like squared. I just don't hear Gunther very often. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but I'm trying to like just try to work on things outside of YouTube, and I would love to like work on writing scripts. That would be kind of fun too, and trying to figure out if I can how long I can do a script for, and if I could write for like a series where like upload multiple episodes of something, or if I'm really just like honed in on making like one like short film, like however long it is, like 30 minutes or an hour or whatever it may be. I think like an hour, I guess, would not be really a short film. But yeah, but that would be fun. That's a dream. So that's why even like with the storytelling thing, that the kind of doing the characters kind of helps with the confidence of maybe even stepping in front of the camera. And I've always had like a love for trying to do like I've always wanted to do voice acting and doing like voiceover work and stuff like that. So that's and it just right now it just seems such like a faraway dream. Like it just kind of seems like it just isn't that achievable. But I'm trying my best to like try to figure out how to achieve it and how I can do it. And having a microphone really helps. I could tell everything that I really want is it kind of just revolves around that microphone. And maybe just trying to really use the resources I have. So yeah, so that's what Try to YouTube is I think really right now a big hub for like I know that I maybe can do a lot with YouTube, especially when I'm on it all the time. And yeah, I'm on it. I've been on it for so long. I think the first time I really discovered YouTube would have been like I feel like it would have been like probably like 8th grade. It'd been about 2009ish, and I kind of I was started I started I didn't watch it super like every day, but it was when I moved from I used to live out in Allen with my dad and my little sister, and then we moved in with my grandparents, and then they had a computer, so it was like the first time I actually had access to YouTube, access to the internet, really. So YouTube was like, it was so new to me. It was still like a really new concept, and I found interest in like certain types of videos, and it especially like I think the videos that I really like the most is I used to like drawing videos. Like I used to love to watch people just sketch out whatever. Like man, I wish I would have remembered like and he probably doesn't have a YouTube channel anymore, but there was like one channel that I just fell in love with, and he used to like draw really like creepy things, and I just thought that was cool. Yeah, and then also what was really popular was like people putting out like lyric videos or something like that, or like they would make like their own music video using like The Sims. Like they'd like, dude, it was just a kid thing to do. It was literally just like I had so much fun just discovering what was on YouTube. And then YouTube over the many years like exploded. It just like YouTube just became so big, and now it's huge. It's a hub for every single type of content that you really could think about. If you want something like you just like to watch like goofy sketches and people that like to do skits, you can watch that. If you're someone that like likes video games and you want to watch people that play video games, like you can do that. Or more just like see like you just like direct content, like very like real life like vlogs and stuff like that. So YouTube offers a lot of content, and it's almost like it's overwhelming at times, and So I find that like I think as most people like especially with like when you talk about like TV shows or you talk about certain songs or certain musicians, certain movies or whatever, like I find that certain YouTube channels are like my go-tos. Certain ones have been around for a long time too. Like today, I mean every day it almost feels like I'm inevitably gonna watch a Smosh video, especially with like how relevant like Smosh has like come in the news and how Ian and Anthony had bought back Smosh and stuff like that. That seems very relevant right now. And so I still watch Smosh. I mean, I don't know if I really go back and watch the old videos because I just feel like they've always evolved pretty good. I feel like they've always evolved to be a little funnier and have a little bit different content and try to like not change it to where people feel uncomfortable because they're OGs. Smosh are little literal OGs of YouTube, and and it would feel very like percussive or whatever to like all of a sudden concussive or whatever to like all of a sudden just totally switch up your content. So they have it. It like I said, it's varied enough to where like it feels very fresh still. And I mean, I watch like it's not just like their main channel. Like they still got very good sketches on their main channel and stuff like that. But I really watch more so their Smosh Games channel as well as as their second channel or Smosh Pit is what it's called now. But it used to be called the Smosh second channel. But on Smosh Games they play like they don't play video games as much as they used to. They play like a lot of board games and but it's more so a lot of the people like the cast as they would be called like kind of coming together and like talking and having fun and you get to see their personalities a lot and that's fun. It's like I'm hanging out with friends without actually having to hang out with anybody in real life. It's amazing. It's so funny. And I've loved Smosh for a long time. And Smosh Pit is like they have more of like vloggy style videos where like they'll do like challenges and stuff like that, or like one of their most famous series is like their try not to laugh videos. And there's just everybody's really funny. I think all the bits that people are kind of do and everybody's sense of humor is very funny. So I have a lot of fun watching Smosh, and I've watched them for so long. And like I said, some channels don't last a long time, and or like they may have hopes that they'll come back around. And uh, someone I watch nostalgically, and I pray that one day she'll come back to YouTube is Jenna Marbles. I for sure I pray that I pray so hard that one day Jenna comes back to YouTube. We miss Jenna. I mean, if you're a YouTube fan, 100% you're a YouTube fan. You love Jenna Marbles. She's been around for so long on YouTube, and it would have been probably around the time that I started watching YouTube. Her and Smosh would have been both very popular. And she's just such a humble character. She's such a humble person and so sweet and so funny and her content evolved a lot too. Like when she first kind of came out, it felt like it was really like taking advantage of maybe trends and stuff like that. And that's most of what YouTube is. And when you're kind of a creator, that's kind of a lot what it is. But as she kind of got a little older, she wanted to start doing like her own content. She really like sorry, I keep saying like a lot, but she evolved to want to do the things that she wanted to do, the things that she thought would be amusing to watch, while still playing with the audience's suggestions and stuff like that. But she really, it's always so funny to see the personality of people in these videos, and she really amplifies that. She really has a lot of personality, and then eventually when she started dating her now husband Julian, that's so awesome to hear. I just love saying that. But when he started coming around, it was just like you could see she became more comfortable. You know, she always had a confidence a little bit and a comfortability, but you could just see something different. And Julian too, like you could tell that like she brought a lot out of him, and then he started popping up on YouTube, and his YouTube was always really his channel was great. And then Twitch is where he kind of thrives. That's where he's on now, I'm pretty sure. And I like watching like his VODs and like his like clips from Twitch on his YouTube channel and he's just funny. He's just as funny as Jenna. So yeah, I just hope one day that we get a little marble baby. I pray so hard that and like I said, I hope that she comes back, but we want her to be comfortable. And that's kind of the idea is that she got to a point in life that like things just weren't right on YouTube, and she didn't feel like she had like the confidence to do videos, or not the confidence. I don't want to say that. It's more so that she just didn't feel like she had a place to be funny on YouTube, or like a place to put content. But she's still a good lady, and we love Jenna Marbles. And if this message ever got out to Jenna Marbles, we love you, we miss you. I hope that you come back. At least for just for the few people that just absolutely adore you. But yeah, but there's some channels that like in the meantime, obviously, like I find people to replace. When channels decide they don't want to upload anymore, or their content gets like kind of stale or something like that. Like that's the beauty of YouTube, is that there's another channel around the corner. And I didn't discover them until like later, but there's a channel that leans on the gaming side of YouTube, but it's not really about like beating a game, or about like speed running a game or something like that, or like playing the game the best as possible. But there's the YouTube channel Funhouse, spelled Funhaus, all just smushed together. But they're like an older generation. They're all like in their like late 30s and stuff like that. And but they have like older minded, they have like a older love for games, and they all kind of like grew up playing like old consoles and stuff like that, and old computer games and stuff like that. So they have like this old school wisdom. But their videos are not necessarily super about like playing the video game the best they can, or beating everybody, or speedrunning it. Like I said, it's more about the commentary. And again, like that's something I guess I really am attracted to when it comes to YouTube, is I just like it makes me feel like I'm hanging out with friends. Wow. Just made myself feel like a loser. Dude. It just makes but it's I love their personality. And I've always I'm only 27, but I just all my friends that I've always ever had, like more so out of high school, have been older than me. Like significantly 5, 10 years older than me. And I've just always been interested in my older sister is 9 years older than me. I'll talk about her in a little bit, in a few minutes. But I've always just had more interest in hanging out with people that are older than me. And so I really empathize with them, and I love the references they make, and I just think it's so funny. And the games they play are fun too. It's sometimes it's new games, but a lot of times it's like games that from the back of your mind type games. And usually it feels like they kind of hit that like that late 90s early 2000s mark. That feels like that was the prime for all of them. There when they were like teenagers or getting into their 20s or whatever. But it's more, like I said, it's more about the commentary. It's about their personalities, and it's just some incredibly funny people. And I guess I could have shouted out all of them, but it's more so I want people to go look at it. That's that. I'm only talking about it to show a little love, but go look at these YouTube channels, and go try to find out what you like on YouTube. That's more so what it is. And I've got tons of other channels that I absolutely adore. So and those are just like three channels that are basic. You know what I'm saying? That are just like that make me feel comfortable, and that I know that I can go to every time, and spread around a good variety of different content for sure. But YouTube has been around since I was about what I guess like 10 or 11, and I just it's always been such a ease to me. Something like, especially as I've gotten older, when things are a little more hectic, like I'm trying to find things that make me feel at ease, that make me feel a little more comfortable. So YouTube offers that. And in general, I'm really always trying to just find a little more relaxation in my life, and not try to freak out too much at situations and stuff like that. And more so going with the flow, literally going with the flow. It's hard to maybe, and it's a little bit of my mental state of I feel I'm not necessarily super OCD, but I don't like things like being too sporadic. I enjoy a routine, and I don't mind when things switch up in my routine, but I really try to keep things the same. And to my benefit, or to my detriment, either way. Like sometimes it's not always that great. But I try to keep that routine. So I try to keep things easy for myself, and I try to go with a certain flow of things, but inevitably something's going to come in and change that. There's going to be, a new expense that I need to pay, or I'm sick or something like that, or just anything. Any little thing, any big thing. So it's just saying going with the flow is kind of just too broad of a statement at times, and it makes me feel too like relaxed to just say that. So, whether you say go with the flow or whether you just say try to put yourself at ease, it's always about trying to find a little bit of comfort in life. Whatever, like, not necessarily when you're in the chaos necessarily, like that would be the best situation is like even when things are chaotic, you're not lackadaisical, you're not blasé, but you're more so you're eased. You can kind of filter in and handle things however that is that you handle things. So I try to find things that help me go with the flow. And it was a lot easier. I feel like when I was younger, I feel like it's always like a joke amongst my family that you used to be able to put me when I was like a kid, like a baby. You used to be able to put me in the corner with like a couple like Hot Wheels and a block, and I could play for hours. I'd be distracted in my own world for hours, and that's relatively still kind of what it is today. Like I don't have Hot Wheels anymore in a block, but I sit in my room sometimes and I could just relax and I can just, or just sit around in the living room or something like that, or just sit around and just kind of chill and just kind of relax, not really do much. And I get lost in thought a lot too. I get in my own little world. That was always what it was about. And I do remember that as a kid. I kind of remember as a kid being so like so easy with it, which I think is probably easy when you have parents that are basically your life source, right? Or literally your life source. It makes it easy to go with the flow. It kind of makes it easy to just be like relaxed because they're assuring you, and as you learn, they're kind of helping you along the way. Yeah, so it's really not till like I feel like I got older that it felt more hectic, or really in high school, it kind of was starting to feel a little unbalanced because you're just inevitably just take on independence when you hit high school. So, and there's no, obviously there's never an outline for the perfection or the literal, working through process of different things, of different situations, of different chaos, of different challenges. So, the flow is more so just the ease, right? That's what I'm trying to get at is you just want to be able to have that ease in your life. And so hopefully when outside of the chaos, when you have just a general good thing going on and whether there are little changes and however much you can take on, that's another thing is trying to realize maybe how much you can take on. I keep things really easy in my life. I try to keep things super simple and but I do know that maybe I could take on a little bit more. I know I can. I do get a little scared because I've got a kind of a certain thing, good thing going on. It's not always great, like I said, but it's I'm at ease right now. I kind of got a relaxed situation, or I feel relaxed. But but maybe putting myself in some of those more uncomfortable situations is only going to benefit me. That's also expanding the flow. You know what I'm saying? We're not just a little stream going down the down river. We're the opening up into a bigger sea or lake or something like that. I would love to be just like the calmest person in the world, and I feel like I'm super at ease. Like my dad is someone that sometimes he gets a little. He hasn't always been that way, but in my time as a kid, it feels like he's always been. And as I've grown up, it always feels like he's been a really eased person, and he's always framed it to me that you can't really give too many things power. If you sit there and you dread on things and you get too involved in the chaos and you get overwhelmed, then you're not going with it. You're going against the flow of things. It's almost like you kind of got to let the chaos push you a little bit or something like that, or you kind of got to let the chaos guide you. So, I'm doing my best to try to, put myself at ease in general, and just making sure that when I'm going through any sort of situation, whatever it may be, that I'm keeping it easy, that I'm keeping it simple, and I'm just keeping it simple, keeping it easy, slowly expanding my flow. However that means. Like I said, that's such a broad like statement is, going with the flow. But it's like I said, just trying to put myself at ease. And I find that having outlets is a big thing, right? It's kind of making sure that when I used to be more into video games. Now I guess I was about to say video games, but I used to be more into video games, but not as much anymore. But when I'm talking about YouTube, that's one thing that puts me at ease. And when I do play video games, I try to escape myself and I don't play a video game that's gonna make me super pissed off. And if it does, then I'm gonna stop playing it. I'm a little bit better about that instead of like suffering and acting like I gotta finish something or complete something, you know. So I find that, and then you try to find it in people sometimes too. You know, I don't have a lot of friends, so I'm blessed to have siblings. I'm blessed to have my dad. I'm blessed to have family that love to be around me and that I like to be around as well. But especially siblings. Like I really feel like I try to hone in all the time that there's an importance to having siblings. I tell you what, like um it's that great blend between friends and family. It's definitely 100% your family. It's your blood, but it's kind of like they're just like a friend as well. They're not your dad or your mom, so they're not they may be on your ass a little bit, but sorry for my language. But they're not necessarily, you know, coming down on you and they're not raising you some to a point. Some siblings do, but it's one of those things where they're more of a friend. It always feels like they're a friend. And I have two amazing siblings, 100%. I have two of the best siblings, I would say. I have my older sister who's 9 years older than me, but we get along so well. Her name's Kara, and I love her to death. And then I have my and then I have my baby sister. I have my little sister who's 2 years younger than me, and her name's Katie. And I love those two, 100%. I love them to death. And it's like I'm a in between with them where it's kind of Katie and Kara are very different people. They're Katie's younger, obviously she's way younger, and Kara's like a little older, and they have different vibes and, and different mentalities and stuff like that. But then I'm the middle. You know, I get along with both of them. You know, I enjoy the same things that kind of Katie enjoys, and I enjoy a lot of the same things that Kara enjoys. And it's kind of has to do with growing up. Like I grew up with Katie around my whole life. You know, we didn't grow up together until or we stopped growing up or whatever, stopped really being around each other all the time when she left for college. When she had to go be an independent person, I guess. And then my older sister, there was just random times where like she'd be around, and then unfortunately there was a couple years where she wasn't. But then eventually like we reunited, and it was awesome. And like I always loved. She used to live out in Whitesboro, so it was kind of my escape. You know what I'm saying? Like me and her would just go hang out, and I love that. I absolutely love that. And I look up to both of them. 100% do. Not just in just so many ways. You know, my little sister, she's such a head down, you know, kind of keeps it going type person. You know, she has her moments where she freaks out a little bit, but she's so much better than me. Where like she doesn't feed into that chaos. She's kind of like our dad in the way of that she snaps, you know, snaps into or not snaps in like a bad way, but she snaps into like the mentality of I just got to get it done. So what am I going to do to get it done? And you know what's the best way to do it, and she just does it, and that's just impressive. At such a you know she's 25 years old or almost 25 years old. Sorry, I don't want to make her seem a little older. Dang, you know. But she's so impressive in that way, and she's just like she's got the ball rolling right now, and I'm so impressed, and I just know that like even if things go wrong, I don't want I just hate even saying that, you know what I'm saying? I just know that she's like so smart, and she'll be in a good place with she has good friends, and obviously her family loves her, so and she has a different mindset about things. You know, I don't ever put that on her that she needs to be perfect. Maybe when we were a little younger, I felt like I wanted just the best for her. I always kind of wanted her to be like just great as possible. You know, try to feed her with positive thoughts and try to tell her she needed to be this way. And you know, a little bit of like a try to control her a little bit when I was I guess when I was a little younger. And I feel a little guilty of that, even though we always had a great relationship. It's not like I said, she was one of my best friends. She still is. Like we had so much fun hanging out. So it's never like it was like a bad thing. But like as I got older, you realize that she's just got to be her own person. As she became an adult and I became an adult, you kind of just I realized that I kind of just had to let her do her. I had to let her be her own person, and I had to let her do her thing, and I had to let her, you know, I just let her be her, and I couldn't judge her. And when she came to me and told me things about her life, I had to be then comfortable to then share my life, which that's an uncomfortable thing. Is like I didn't want to ever tell Katie about certain things about my life, but when we opened that conversation, it was became more comfortable, and I think it's always been better. And I you know what I'm saying, it's always been good, but it's better. And then when it comes to Kara, you know, I look up to her so much is that she's so versatile, 100%. She's like the type of person that she could be like that housewife. She can cook and clean, and she can take care of kids. But then like you know, if the car breaks down, she'll fix it. If the fridge breaks, she'll fix it. Like she's so handy. She's literally the ultimate like utility knife. You know what I'm saying? Just like the utility tool. Excuse me. But she's so funny and so cool in that way. And being my older sister, as I remember as we were younger, I always wanted to do the things that she was doing. And so I was always interested in the things that she was interested in. And so whenever it came to music and movies and games and stuff like that, she was the reason that I even got into horror movies, or I even would play any violent video games or anything like that. She was a bad influence, man. Dude, no, no, she was great. She's great. She is great. She's still alive. I don't want to talk to. I never want to try to make it sound like they're like gone, and I don't, or like whenever, like they're still alive. I love my siblings. I very much so. I love being around them. But I think that's just an important thing to have siblings, and I know that a lot of people don't have the fortune that I do. I know that a lot of people don't have great relationships with their siblings, or their siblings are gone, they're dead or something like that, or they're just far away enough, living somewhere else, that you don't feel like you connect to them as much anymore. But I just it's I think when you do have that great relationship with siblings, it's just a blessing. They can be that ultimate support group, and it's someone, they become people that you want to take care of. Like, I want to protect my sisters at all costs, and but also I'm never gonna be there to just like immediately step in front and do something for them, because they're independent as hell. They're two of the most independent women I've ever met in my life. So I don't need to step in and do everything for them. And I would hope that they would tell me if there's something was going wrong, and they do. But often they can handle it. Often they're pretty inept to doing that, or adept to doing it. Adept more so, because inept would be the other way. Yeah, yeah. They're great people, and just a blessing to have. And even though, like, I am like the big brother to my little sister, but I'm the little brother to my to my older sister, but I consider myself the big brother. I love that. I take that title very seriously, as being a big brother. I appreciate that. I want to be the protector, and I want to be someone that they look at and say, like, oh man, I'm glad that he's doing this, or it's cool that he's like this, and I can do it if he does it. And I'm just trying to take the steps so they don't have to, like, or they can follow in my steps or something like that when it becomes tepid, when the situation is unknown. Because like I said, they're super independent people. So for everybody that does have great siblings, shout out. Shout out to all the great siblings out there. Whether you are the great sibling or not. Sometimes, you're the one that reaches out more often than not. And I admit that I'm not very good at that. I'm not. But I'm the middle point between my siblings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's yeah, I feel like I'm the mix of both their personalities. Me and my little sister look a lot alike, so I've told people in public, not like friends or anything like that, but like in public, I've told people that we're twins. You know, it's if I could get away with it. It's a little different now. I'm not as pretty looking as her, so I very much so look like a guy. So, but with my older sister, I don't look like her that much. A little bit. There's some things, but she looks like her mom. We all have the same dad, but my older sister has a different mom than me and my younger sister. But she looks like my older sister looks like her mom, and even my younger sister looks like our mom. Like, so it's just, and then I have like a blend of my mom and my dad. But then I'm I appreciate being that, just a brother to two sisters too. It's a blessing. I grew up playing I grew up playing Barbies, and putting on nail polish, and I wanted to hang out with my older sister and my little sister. I wanted to do that stuff. I wanted to play, house, and play, like, school or whatever, those imaginary games. I love that stuff. Like, I felt guilty, like, when Katie didn't have, someone to hang out with. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with my friends if Katie didn't have someone to hang out with, which was very rare. Usually Katie was the one going out hanging out with people, and I was just like at home, which was literally like the dynamic though. I liked it because then, like, Katie was out of the house, and she'd be doing stuff with her friends, and sometimes they would come over and whatever. But like, then I'm kind of just doing my thing. Then I'm like by myself, and I can play my PlayStation or my PSP, or when I was younger, obviously I don't have those anymore. I have my PlayStation still, but I don't got that PSP anymore. I miss that PSP. I tell you what. But literally, like I said, it's having built-in best friends. Like, I just want to do stuff with them. Like, when a new horror movie comes out that's really interesting and I want to watch, I'm inevitably gonna watch it with them. It's almost certainly I'm gonna watch it with them. Either maybe one of them or both of them. Most likely both of them, depending on what it is. So there's things I just want to do with them. And Katie, like, She wasn't really interested in video games back then, but as time kind of got older, she got a little more interested. Specifically, she got interested in The Sims, which is so funny that back in the day, I used to force her to play with me and stuff like that. Stuff, once in a while, she was interested in it, but I used to force her to play The Sims with me. But then, as The Sims really got better and became more interesting, really, she got interested in it. So now it's something that we share, and we should obviously share a lot of other interests. That's a beautiful thing is I get along with my siblings, and I really do believe that's a blessed thing. Something I wish everybody had. But yeah, that's all I wanted. That's all I really wanted to talk about today. That's all I really wanted to talk about for episode 13. Just a good variety of things, YouTube has been a very prevalent in my life, and I know it will be for until the day it shuts down, probably. And I'm just generally, someone that tries to go with the flow a little bit more in my life, especially as I get older, as more chaos happens in my life. And I think it's an important thing to have good relationships with your siblings, and it's an unfortunate thing when you don't have your siblings around all the time, or you don't have a good relationship with them. So just a little bit something for everybody to relate to. And if everybody out there just know that that you, I'm trying my best to just speak relatably. You know, I don't ever want to make anybody feel like I'm talking at anybody. That's why when I think about these topics, I'm doing my best to try to throw in a little bit of a randomness, not super random, but I want to talk about things that really relate to mental health without having to do the bigger topics or having to do like a full, deep dive into it. So I take it, doing little things like going with the flow. It relates to real life, and then talking about YouTube, which is something that I love, and then siblings, which is something I take very personally and is my real life. So I'm just doing my best to try to throw in topics, and I appreciate anybody that listens. And I'm only trying to build up what I'm doing with the podcast, and I'm hoping to expand outside of podcasting. I really am, and I just got to build that confidence. I know that I got it. I know I do, and I think also I'm gonna try to do like a video. I'm gonna try to record myself while doing a podcast, and that will build my confidence as well. I think so. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about today. If anybody wants to listen to this podcast, I'm gonna have it up on YouTube or I'll have it up on Spotify podcast, wherever you're listening to this. Just look up the Odd Thoughts podcast. It'll be the same on YouTube and Spotify podcast. If you're someone that likes to, go around social media or you have a bunch of different social media apps, I'm on a couple of them. I have a Facebook under my name, Gunther Getlicker. Both the G's are capitalized. I also have an Instagram under Gunther underscore Getlicker. Getlicker, sorry. Let me say that again. Instagram, Gunther underscore Getlicker. Both those G's are lowercase. And then I also have a Twitter, which is at one Mike GG, which both those G's are capitalized. And then I'm building up my Reddit a little bit. I'm trying to work on stories for Reddit and just have a little fun with that. And then I'm just seeing what else there is out there. But I appreciate anybody listening to this episode. This has been the This has been the Odd Thoughts podcast. My name is Gunther, and I've been your host. And just remember, everybody, be excellent to each other.